there was an Australian government actually had a warrant of arrest out for him, and they had kicked out the company based on environmental negligence and corruption. There was which other country? Like the dude has so many cases that were outside there. There's a reason why there was this American investigation going on. So Omosh, we cannot say here. Unajua umeongea kama fanua baba kabisa vile umesema baba dai. We cannot
si nimeulizwa ni opinion yangu.
Ndo nakwambia opinion yako ni ya baba die hard. Nikikwambia siwezi try kusana. Mimi pia
What did you ask for? So you asked about die hard.
No, yeah. Mimi siwezi try kumsanitize. Niseme ati baba looking out from outside, he only saw the Gujarati airport, and that's the only one airport that they have built. I think that maybe it's time that watu kina baba need to look at Baba, Ruto, what I need to look at politics different. And this is not the same Kenya of 2022.
No, it's not. You're right. It is not.
I don't think the electoral is the same. I think it's time that they start kuangalia politicians kama kina Sifuna who can play both sides easily because they know how to do Vilali amesema they know how to sell perception. They know how to get on the bandwagon and they know how to jump out of the bandwagon real cool and look like they were not in that bandwagon at all. Because if what I'm saying, what Baba did was politics. Baba wamezoea, Baba anajua mimi nikisema Kibaki tosha. That's how he knows to do politics, right? Ruto anajua yake ni ile nikiwadanganya it's gone. Like ile politicking. The only type of
politicking, yes.
Yeah.
Where are things going? And of course, Mika already gave us a preview of what's happening in ODM. But what is the best saying? Almost fire.
So Baba's core supporters are Baba's core supporters. They're going nowhere. And basically what would end up happening is if he decides he's running, wako na yeye. If he decides he's going to endorse somebody, wako na whoever he is going to endorse.
Yeah.
They're going nowhere. Now
it's for poor 100% because Baba supporters are talking badly in Nuru.
You see, there's talk and then there's reality.
Yeah.
Because kitu moja unajua watu wamesahau ni
wacha Omosha malize. Wacha Omosha malize point yake alafu utaingia Mika. Omosha.
So what is coming out of this thing about Adani? If you are just looking at it from the outside in, meaning when mtu ambaye umesikizia tu Adani, umepiga tu kuangalia zile projects wako nazo, and remember even before this exposure that came out with the US government, nobody was necessarily saying at vitu ziko mbaya nini. There had been some rumors or fununu kidogo, but nothing substantial that somebody could hold. Right? And based upon the work on the ground that they had done, which is how that statement was made, was based upon ile kazi wamefanya, blah blah blah, watu wako poa na wanaweza fanya hii kazi juu tushaona kazi yao vile imefanyika. Mimi mwenyewe nilienda huko na nikaona. That's basically
what he said.
That's what he's endorsed. Yeah, he said he went to he's even been to that airport.
Yeah.
The one that these guys facelifted and did the same type of I guess I'm not saying it's the same type of deal or same deal, but it would be something similar where they did a facelift and so on and so forth with the airport and improved it and that type of thing.
It was a complete new build.
Right?
Yeah.
So from what he's saying is that based upon that, I say mina wapea tick juu nishaona kazi yao.
Clean bill of health.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now comes back that watu wanapewa kitu not because wanaweza fanya job but because wanaweza toa brown envelope.
Yes.
Sasa hapo then you have to question, okay, how many other people were sidelined who could potentially have done this for less money and done a better job because nobody else ever even competed for it because it was a straight up P2P PPP, which basically was never put out there to anyone else.
Yeah.
And it was a direct engagement.
Yeah, it was a direct engagement.
Sindio?
Yeah.
So, and that's part of the thing is like, okay, fine, we need to get this done. Why don't we make it competitive so we get the needs from everybody? We have people who run airports, people who are building airports, people who are doing all sorts of different things. I'm sure even that guy of the Nigerian guy who's got what? Is it Gatwick? He's a Nigerian guy who has Gatwick. Yeah. I'm sure that guy, maybe if he had known that kulikuwa na kakanini, pengine angekuja kaingia juu anasema I'm just saying.
There was a company that actually wanted Qatar, the one that does Qatar Airport, the Qatar company that does Qatar Airport, and the one that has the Rwanda Airport deal, and the Ugandan Airport deal. There was that. There was Dinata that does Heathrow, does Dubai, and I believe it's negotiating to do a few American companies airports. There are American companies that run airports that could have done. There were a lot of companies that could have done.
Correct, but they were never given a chance, were they? This was a straight up deal that went because it was nini. So all I'm saying is that hapa kwa baba alikuwa naenda na zile vitu ameona na zile vitu. Now it's coming out that brown envelope ndio hiyo.
But Omosh, before you go back to Mika, Omosh, you know, like the problem with what Baba did is that it was no secret of the dirty deals that Adani had been doing. They've had cases of corruption within their own country.
Correct.
You know, like this was not it wasn't a secret, you know, like
there was actually an outcry from Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, who he was taking over the power companies because of the deal that he had signed for them. He had crashed the power in the power distribution in the country, and he was taking over those. And there was an Australian government actually had a warrant of arrest out for him, and they had kicked out the company based on environmental negligence and corruption. There was which other country? Like the dude has so many cases that were outside there. There's a reason why there was this American investigation going on. So Omosh, we cannot say here. Unajua umeongea kama fanua baba kabisa vile umesema baba dai. We cannot try.
Si nimeulizwa ni opinion yangu.
Ndo nakwambia opinion yako ni ya baba die hard. Nikikwambia tuwezi try kusani. Mimi pia
kama what did you ask for? So you asked about die hard.
No, yeah.
Mimi siwezi try kumsanitize. Niseme ati baba looking out from outside, he only saw the Gujarati airport, and that's the only one airport that they have built.
Now, Mika, going back to Omosh, you see what I like about what Omosh is saying is that we need that perspective from the diehard, because ngoja Mika, because also perspective or rather perception is everything. So like you Mika and I, yes, we can see through this, you know, like and I don't think the average Kenya was following the case that Adani was kicked out Australia.
The other ones, yeah. There are many. So I think this guy has cases probably in every country.
So Baba's message maybe might have resonated with his core because people are not aware of all these other, you know, like issues. However, the Senate kept discussing a lot of these issues that Adani had. Where now this becomes problematic for Baba. Had the US not done this indictment,
investigation, yes,
yeah, I think, you know, like politically Baba would have sanitized it and it would have sailed. But the problem now, because this thing is now out in the open, Baba now has egg on the face, you know, like whether he likes it or not, he has egg on the face because his ministers and even himself have been sanitizing this for a while. The ones who've been consistently sanitizing
I don't
this.
think so, in my opinion.
Ali, do you think, or you guys, do you think that maybe it's time that Watukaki na Baba need to look at Baba, Ruto, what they need to look at politics different, and this is not the same Kenya of 2022.
No, it's not. You're right. It is not.
I don't think the electoral is the same. I think it's time that they start kuangalia politicians kama kina Sifuna who can play both sides easily, because they know how to do Vilali amesema they know how to sell perception. They know how to get on the bandwagon, and they know how to jump out of the bandwagon real cool and look like they were not in that bandwagon at all. Because if what I'm saying, what Baba did was politics. Baba anajua mimi nikisema Kibaki tosha. That's how he knows to do politics, right? Ruto anajua yake ni ile nikiwadanganya it's gone. Like ile politicking. The only type of
politicking, yes.
Yeah. And I think they need to realize that sahi mtu yuko ushago pia na Twitter.
The base, yeah, Twitter, the base is different.
Alafu kuna Facebook pia, right? In a day, it's like 7 million Kenyans log into Twitter. 42 point something, alafu 20 point, ilikuwa 20, number nimeona leo mahali, 20 point something million Kenyans log on to Facebook. TikTok has the most. And
that's a lot.
Kwa kila mahali.
Now, Mika, I agree with you, but with a caveat or a disclaimer. I agree with you that the electorate has changed and the dynamics have changed. The caveat that I'll put is that it's not been tested on the ballot. So I think part of the reason why, like Baba, Ruto, and all these old school guys are still holding on to what they know is because it has worked the previous 100 times. So until we have a by-election and they see something, then I think that's a point when they will react.
Do you agree it's something they need to start reconsidering? Because najua kwa wazee they have the wazee vote. Najua vote ya wazee wako nayo kabisa. Hii hata ni ngumu kuchange wazee akili. Ndio natemia maandamano.
They definitely need to start reconsidering, but Mika, you also have to remember, I'm dividing Kenya's history into 3 parts. The first part was the KANU era, like Jomo Kenyatta and then Moi. There was generally one way of doing politics. Those who never read the signs were swept out after the 1992 multipartyism election. Then from that 1992 multiparty, Kenyan politics changed, and we've stuck to that situation for another 30 years, because 1992 to 2022, that's 30 years. So now we are in phase 3, but now phase 3 has not been tested, because now the KANU of between 1992 to 2022 was now this merry-go-round ruling party and opposition, because that's the way politics has been done in Kenya. Start a term and then, form a coalition, and then all of you now start eating against the people. That's how things have been done. So now we are in phase 3, but phase 3 has not quite been tested yet. And I think that is the jitteriness that's out there that's even making Kina Ruto and even Raila not confident enough to push for IEBC. Because once IEBC is set up and once the first ballot is cast for the by-elections, there are around the 10 by-elections that are supposed to be there, I think that will be the beginning of phase 3, and people need to prepare themselves.
You see, even with Baba, what's not also helping is like the CS, Opiyo Wandayi. When he comes out and says, it doesn't, just because over there, those guys have said whatever they said over there, over here, that is over there. This has nothing to do with this over here. So we'll proceed with it. Right? That's what he said.
Yes.
State of the Union.
That's why I think there's something that we don't know.
Yes,
either this thing was a surprise factor, like a couple of hours before the speech, or maybe Ruto might have known earlier, but like him, he likes coming out as the hero in any crisis. He let other people ban. He let other people ban, and then he'll come out as, I am the one who cancelled the finance bill. The MPs remain with egg on the face. I am the one who cancelled the Adani deal. So now he comes out as the hero, and all these other guys in the broad-based government remain with egg on the face.
Ali,
Let me go to
that one. That one, yes.
Yeah.
Ali, you're totally right on that, because the FBI were the first to release the statement, right? And then the SEC followed, and then New York, the district court followed that with the statement and received the statement of Adani. Based on how governments work and the relationship that Kenya has with the US, I'm sure there was communication before.
Okay.
When that was put in. Now, what I want to remind is that, do you remember the day before the PSC fired all the permanent secretaries and put an advertisement for permanent secretaries.
When was that? After?
No, before the day before the
State of the Nation.
The State of the yes. I even shared that newspaper clip when they advertised for this position, like all the PSs were fired.
Yeah.
So the thing, what I think is that we know for Ruto, and the reason he fired some of his CSs is, and the issue that he had was that they all have to sing from the same hymn book. If this is the government position and everything, you're going to sing the same hymn book, regardless of how it is. You're going to sing the same. That's why you even find the deputy speaker. I've never heard before a deputy speaker speaking out about the matters of what is happening in the country. Like a deputy speaker supporting things like Adani, supporting things like Chief. Like,
that's very unusual. Yeah.
That was very. I've never heard anything like that. You hear the president PA speaking in public as who? You're not a government employee. You're not elected in the government. You're a personal assistant. You are a private employee for that guy. You're not supposed to be, unless the press secretary is the one who's supposed to speak, not you. Yeah, Pia, he's holding rallies and speaking. Like, it's become such.
It's become so chaotic.
It's become like the more drums we beat, the more they'll dance to the rhythm. So to pick it to kelele to boom 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 boom. Back at the first lady is addressing people about such stuff, asking for forgiveness that if we've ruled badly. Woman, you're not ruling.
Now
you be a president too.
Now, wacha tusome some comments hapa, because comments have been coming in thick and fast on Facebook. Stephen Bati anasema, I want to know how an opposition leader from Uganda disappears on a Saturday in Kenya only to appear in a military court back home after bells start ringing. Then we have Turkish asylum seekers, 4 of them who were returned after being abducted. That's really telling about our sovereignty as a country. We're going to be talking about this later on in the show. So hapo Sambaza, stay tuned. We're going to be talking about that situation. Now, Adhisa anasema, Baba bado ni Jadwong, Jakarworth. Mika will kimbiza me back to Alego, but huko ni kwetu. Call Kipchoge, I can run. And then I can see hapa Sambaza again is saying, Ali, I can tell you that Mika has a very important fact regarding the way the young generation that's between 18 to 25 years old listen or get content from the internet from their so-called trusted sources. This will change the landscape of politics come 2027 and beyond. Okay, and then Arthur Chieng says, and also remember, hatuna interior CS, then if Weta speaker atakanyaga nje, ODM is waiting for those 2 seats. Kama hawatapata Ruto by February 14th atakuwa Sugoi akichoma mahindi. I don't know what's the significance of February 14th.
Valentine's.
But,
isn't that like the window with which there has to be to have, I guess, cabinet?
There has to be.
Is it IBC?
The full IBC alafu pia interior CS.
Okay. That's
what I'm thinking.
And then Sambaza anasema bread best, Ali, bread best, hakuna mkate ngumu mbele ya chai. Okay. Sawa. Na leo watu wa YouTube wamekuwa so quiet. YouTube, please, what's going on? I can see Bakora anasema sema Opio wa Andani kurukwa kipetero. Okay, Bakora karibu sana. Bakora
ni chirichira, anaitwaje chirichira? Huwa energy anaitwa nani?
Ni chirichir.
Yeah. Bakora karibu sana. Bakora karibu sana. Please tell us where you're tuned in from, and let us know what you think about the discussions that we are having out here in studio. Now, what does this saga do to Kenya's reputation as an investment destination? Because remember, these stories are now on all the places where international investors look for cues. We're talking about Wall Street Journal. We're talking about the Financial Times. These are the places where international investors look for cues. This is where they kind of like directly communicate to international investors. This is what's happening. So with the indictment coming in the US and Kenya cancelling it, this Kenya one has also become international news. When you listen even to, I've been listening to news sources from India. This thing is so big, like even Congress, Congress is discussing it. This thing is so big out there. So as an investment destination, Mike, what's your thinking? If you're an investor, you're looking from the outside. Are you looking at Kenya and you're like, that's a place that I want to put, like my $10 billion that I have on a big project, or my $20 billion?
Well, it depends. If you really don't care about, for lack of a better word, protocol. Like how the US is very stringent on what you do.
Yeah.
Like you can't go out there, you can't go out to another country. You can't. Kuna mutaratara, there's protocol.
There's a process, yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. But if you're countries that really don't care about corruption, what for me signifies so all you have to do is just bring a briefcase. Tuleta briefcase, tulalambisha watu kakitu, barabim baraboom. It depends. If there are guys who have a reputation to protect pertaining to corruption and they don't want to be associated or affiliated, they're gonna stay away. But places or countries or companies that know happening, like for each is it depends on the opportunity that they see. The opportunity that is being shown here is hawa tu ni kulambisha watu.
Kualambisha, yeah.
That is it.
Lambisha and you'll get something. And so the bad actors who are willing to do that are like, that's a place to go.
Of course. Because remember, this thing is being viewed in two ways. As they say, one man's meat is another man's poison.
Yes.
Right? Like if you hold on, Mika, if you see how this thing, the fact that the Adani decided to play within the US and in this financial market, having listening to what you sent us.
Yeah.
I'm not a finance guy, but it's like the fact that this campus, there's some companies that were here that were investing in that company, opens them to investigative career from the US and the government and whatever. Other companies, how many times and how long have we said that, like when you look at the East, when people started facing the East, those guys, they don't care about what goes on in other countries. They won't interfere.
No.
Ukitaka 2 billion, shika.
Lakini sisi
tufanye biashara. So it depends from which lens.
Okay, Mika, you wanted to say something.
So what I wanted to say is that, remember, so if we would have taken Adani and they're corrupt, and it knows you're corrupt, then that means we'll not have worked with a lot of companies from the West. Because their government their government will be like, okay, go invest in that corrupt country, we start investigating you. And most companies will not want to be tied, their name to be tied that they're working. So there's a reason why Walikata here, because apart from saving his people, it's saving face. Like, you also have to save the country and be like, wait, I need investors, I need people to come in. So this is going to affect me this much. No, I don't want. So it's something that the cancellation of the deals was a good thing, but they also need to cancel that healthcare deal that they have. It's very bad. It's very bad. It's very bad. Like, it's no, and it's still Adani, so that needs to be cancelled too. But that was a saving of face moment. Si ati aibu tu alone, hata kibiashara.
Wow, and it was so close. Omoshfa, I wanted to say something.
So, Mikasi, that deal of Shashif, Sisafcom are also in it.
Excuse me, it's not Shashif. Wasn't it given a new name?
Shisha.
No.
Taifa Care. Taifa Care.
Oh,
it was given a new name. Yeah, it was given a new name.
It was given.
You add lipstick to a pig.
Taifa Care.
It's called Taifa Care.
It's
now.
not Shashif no more.
Okay, yeah. So since it was given the name of Taifa Care, you reset the clock and start from that day, omitting that you've had the last 2 months of no treatment.
We don't know that, bro.
No. Taifa Care is just like you're going to put unatoa sign ya Dodge, uneka sign ya Benz.
I know what you're saying, but all I'm trying to say is that it does not negate the fact that we've had people with no health care for the last 2 months.
It
doesn't.
Right?
No, it doesn't. Yeah.
That is why you saw him hapo akipeana lip service akisema the amount of money that has been set aside, right? And now the things that he was talking about and saying it's bringing coverage to everybody, it's doing everything.
Yes, universal.
Now what he didn't say is that the complaints that the people put out, and the complaints the people put out is that I was paying 15,000 for chemo. Now I'm paying 100,000 for chemo.
Oof.
I can't afford it.
Oof.
Right? And that's per session. And the shift is covering 10,000. So 90,000 is on me. Isn't it what you are saying me?
Yeah.
Right? The coverage has reduced. Most people, what they were getting from the other coverage, Aiko.
Correct.
So you're trying to say you're broadening up to everybody. Okay, you're broadening up to everybody. But then you're covering people with nothing. And that's what people are complaining about. Then people are complaining that hospitals are saying we have not been paid for months. We don't have supplies because we have not been paid. So we are not taking anybody. We'd rather take private pay.
Yes, because they'll pay.
So, yes. The other insurance was taking people abroad for treatment.
Yes, they
and
were.
It was covering.
Yes.
This one, if you go abroad, it goes back to you have to do an arambe. He didn't mention that. All he mentioned was just put Vilalia Mesema. He put makeup on that pig, proper makeup on it.
Yeah, and the payroll deduction also.
Yeah.
The cost has gone up.
So it's gone up to a point whereby they're saying, I saw I call him Mo. He's a money market guy in Kenya. Talks about finance, an account on Twitter. He talks about Kenyan finances. He knows his stuff about Kenyan finances. He was saying that right now, with the shift and affordable housing deductions,
correct,
plus the taxes you pay,
the
government
it's about 40%. How many percent?
45% of somebody.
Yes, 45%
of
yes.
the paycheck.
Yeah, that's right.
Government.
Yeah.
And also, I wanted to say, the bloggers have been busy at work.
Now hajachukua stima.
Identifying at people. Of course, they're going to go and they'll pick guys and say, oh, Shah has worked.
Yeah.
Or Shif has worked.
Yes.
I am talking about those guys are working on overtime. But of course, we can tell that these are selected cases.
Yeah.
Kuna watu. And by the way, kama unatusikiza,
and those are paid
please
people.
tell us.
Yeah,
paid.
those are paid people.
Yes.
Yeah.
But which
which
hospitals have already been set up? Because remember that there was something that came out, and I don't know if you guys remember this, when they were going to the Shah shift, when they were doing the transition, the biggest issue with this whole thing with the hospitals is that the hospitals did not even have the forms that they were supposed to jaza and give back to Gava so that they themselves would be registered to start accepting payments. Right? So it meant obviously that as a patient, you are coming in, you don't exist because you're in limbo. You are with NHIF, which you had already paid. Then now you're supposed to be transitioned over to Shashif, and you can't go to Shashif because this hospital you have gone to, where you've gone for your regular treatment that you had last week under NHIF, is no longer, it's not there, it's not registered yet, and they have not been told even how they're going to get paid. And that is why the hospital administrations are like, wait, we are here to make money, or we need to be able to at least pay our people. How can we pay our people if our patients who are coming in, who are supposed to be billed, we don't even know how to bill? Because it doesn't exist.
Now, you see, this Shashif thing was...
Excuse me, Taifa Care.
Taifa Care.
Okay, thank you. You're welcome.
It was a money heist opportunity. And you see the way this thing works, they might be collecting more money now.
Correct.
They might be collecting more money, but the problem is you're collecting more money, but you're offering way less care,
correct,
than was being offered before. So this talk of universal healthcare that you keep shouting about,
it's just a talk.
Ni hekaza bunwasi na visa vya alfulela ulela. There's no universal healthcare being offered here. And now bring in Adani. Bring in Adani, because Adani was also part of that. Yeah. These Adani guys, it's kind of like they're like those brokers. The way sometimes you could go somewhere, kuna broker, I can get you anything. Ukitaka viatu, ukitaka shati.
Vile mulikuwa na viatu Vegas.
Yeah, if you need a goat.
Sorry.
If you need a goat, if you need a goat, if you need anything, unajua kuna wale brokers, ukitaka kitu yote anakuletea. So it looks like Adani is that kind of company whereby they go looking for people who can finance big big projects and then put together people who can work on these projects and then bribe here and there and then make money out of that. So that's where we currently are. NHIF was not perfect, but it was working.
It could have been modified.
It could have been improved
and made to work.
And that was all. Yes. That was what of most of these guys who are trying to support Chief or what were trying to restructure. Like even that's what the former CS before she was fired was being asked. What exactly is wrong with NHIF
that you can't fix?
Yeah, these guys don't even know. They couldn't even answer.
And there's a clip that is circulating. I don't know if he's a lawyer or something. He was saying that what needs to happen is, and most of these politicians, they will push and make sure that Taifa Care is implemented. But they themselves
has to be implemented.
They themselves have got their own.
Yes, they have a different.
They have a different
cover.
kind of
yes.
cover,
different cover, yeah,
which is coming from the taxpayers.
Yes, and that cover allows them to travel overseas for treatment.
Yes, and I think if
including their families,
yes. And if Kenya can actually wake up to that and get to know that that okay, as we're being made to suffer here. Tunanyanganya, a certain portion is being by force, but yet when I want to seek treatment, I can't. When my mother wants to seek treatment, she can't, or my father, whatever.
No.
But if these idiots want any type of career, they fly out.
They get on a plane.
They get on a plane.
Let me read a few comments here. Comments have been coming in. Alfred Ayanga anasema amefika pia. Anasema on mic check WhatsApp. Hakuna kucheck WhatsApp. Weka your comment hapa. Let us know what you're thinking, Alfred. And then hapa Washeke anasema all these scandals are eroding investor confidence. We are telling the whole world we are open for business, for mafia, cartel, etc. And then Stephen JJ says, same article was on Business Daily. Take home at 55%, no masana. And then Arthur Ochieng says, like me, I do work from 7 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. No overtime. Jaribu kuongea kesho and you're fired. And then Stephen JJ anasema Adani mse.
This is the famous cousin.
Yes. And then Stephen JJ anasema Adani mse wa ndani kila kitu bei ya jioni. Ndo hiyo Adani, that's how they're operating. And then Apa Bakora on YouTube anasema, how about Kenya government paying in Haiti expenses? I see Trump akiruka hiyo story. Ruto goose is cooked.
Apparently,
yeah.
Let's see.
Kenyan government bill
they've
in
paid.
Haiti is 2 billion.
It's 2 billion and they've already paid.
Shillings and counting.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They've paid and then watarudishiwa. Yeah, watarudishiwa.
Yes.
Now Trump akiingia ndo watajua ajui.
Well, you know, hawezi ruka hiyo story. Watarudishiwa. Hawezi ruka hiyo story.
Well, this is Trump.
Hawezi ruka.
This is Trump.
Kuna agreements hapa hawezi ruka.
Those trade agreements that you cannot just look at them.
Huwezi ruka hiyo kitu.
Okay. Haya, sawa, acha tungoje. So
akiruka then nini wanakata kuprosecute Houthis.
Kenya. But you see the problem ya Kenya.
They have interest in Kenya.
There's a lot of interest in Kenya.
And he gets his trade agreement back.
Mm-hmm. And then unajua pia Trump, another win that Trump will want from Kenya is a military base. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised to see President Trump visit Kenya. I will not be surprised. Let's wait and see. Kenya will be one of the African countries that President Donald Trump shall visit. Yes. And I say this because of your geopolitical influence that they're trying to exert.
Yes.
Totally
it makes sense.
They were all unable to get that. Unaona sa Sudan kuna proxy war. So both Russia and the US were not able to get a base because both of them were angling to have a base. And in fact, that proxy war is being sponsored on one side by Russia, on the other side by US in Sudan. So now the closest place in that area, in that region, with access to the Indian Ocean, ni Kenya. And I'm telling you, that's going to be a very big part of Trump's presidency. So hiyo hapo is what might give Ruto life. But now I don't know how he'll transition from liking Biden to, because Trump is very insecure. with those things. So you are all over Biden. Now, how do you start showing your loyalty
a
to me?
strategic partnership that has been ongoing for 60 years.
No, ndo hivyo, but I agree.
He knows how to kiss us when he wants to kiss us.
Yeah. But now I'm saying now on Trump's side, because Trump's pia ni mtu wa kuenda na mambud zake, so that's something that we are waiting to see. Kuna hiyo trade agreement, but then I'm just having concerns about Kenya as an investment destination. I'm having a bit of concerns, and I think I agree with Washeke when we say, now like legit investors are looking at Kenya. And they're like, I don't know, but mafias and cartels and people who want to bribe.
It's still one of the better places to go to invest in Africa.
It still is. But
even with all of this crap.
Yeah.
Ali, let me tell you how he's going to sell it. If he gets a base, all he has to say is that, you know what? We are adding another base in that region near the Gulf, which protects Israel. Makes it easier for our forces to be near Israel, because the next base wako nayo hapo ni Bahrain, right? From Bahrain, the next one they have is in Turkey. So if they add another base there, they control Africa. But then guess what? Pali Kenya iko, it's right next to the Gulf of Eden.
Wow.
So he can easily sell it. Easy.
Okay.